welcome to Budget Outlaws. And after the initial track day with the new turbo system, we found some problems. So we need to fix the cooling system as it overheated. We have boost issues, both too low and too high. So we put in a boost gauge with a controller in it, and air fuel mixture was giving us troubles under the higher boost. And so we added an air fuel gauge to the passenger or the driver's side. So now we have duals. We still have oiling issues, and we're building a shield to protect the turbo from rocks and rubber. And we found a fuel leak. And so let's get to it. The engine where we built the new Y. We're going to change this fitting, make it bigger. It's only 3/4 right now. We're going to make it 1 inch. You see the end is plenty big, and that's because that's the size the hose was. But let's do that. Here's the piece that I'm replacing, what I'm replacing it with. So this was supposed to be 3/4, but it turns out to be 5/8. And the inside being even smaller. I think we're ready to go ahead and put it on. I had a couple of dimples on this 1 inch line. These are super tight. I wouldn't be able to get the hose on if I did it on this. So I'm just going to go for it. Alright, so we removed the 5/8 restriction. That was ridiculous. We made it 1 inch to split into 2 3/4, and then coming out we have it 3/4 into 1 inch, and then we added the temp gauge or temp sensor up on top, which is the exit, which is where it's the hottest, and that seems to have really eliminated any problems with future testing. So I think that's going to work well. We made one more change, and that was to move the steam line fitting from the front of the block, from where it was in the overflow tank, to the top radiator hose. So I had to make another one for that, and it turned out good. And I think that's pretty much the end of any water pump issues. One of the plugs was extremely clean, and that bothers me because one of the plugs in the old engine was extremely clean. So I might have a leaky injector, and I already changed that injector, which is even more irritating. Alright, so I found the node lights. I've got it plugged into the one that, tested okay. Should work. Well, I was getting ready for another test drive, and I know the spark plug was weird, but that bothered me, but I was going to try it anyways. And then suddenly the UPS truck showed up with a package that would lend some insight to what was happening. So I had ordered a second wideband gauge for the driver's side bank, and previously it had only been running on the passenger side, and I was going to flip it from side to side. But this worked out well. I decided to cancel the test drive and see if I could install the gauge and see what was going on, to compare the two sides. Alright, so guess what? I did put a bung in it. I'll be able to just swap a replacement in any time. So, you'll notice that I have an angle on there. It is not straight in the side or on the bottom in any way. It is angled down so that moisture off the tip will not settle in the cavities inside that O2 sensor, and it will last longer. All right. Heated up quicker. They are both working. It is considerably leaner
side. So we're about 12 there, about 13 on this side. That's interesting. I would have guessed this new side there would be richer. Okay, well, enough of that for right now. This one is a brand new one, and I'm hoping that's going to fix it. Some of you guys who won't recognize the color, others will. These are Ford injectors, or various other product injectors. Okay, so that's lifted up enough so I can get the injector out. So I'm going to do this as quickly as I can. Yes, I just lubed it up. I'm hoping that we got gas coming out of here. We do. Okay. So here's the video, or the wiring diagram for the boost controller. So we got a boost solenoid, we have the boost gauge, which is also the controller. So that boost gauge is underneath the dash here. And the boost solenoid is in the back. I haven't mounted it yet. I want to make sure I know where I'm going to put it mounted before I start cutting vacuum lines. So we've got off the boost controller, we've got the red wire going to the key on positive, black wire going to ground, and then we've got the orange wire that I just showed you, and that is going to be a momentary button for the scramble boost. And then we have on a separate loom, we've got a red wire going to the boost solenoid and a black wire going to the boost solenoid. Now in reality, this red wire loops in the two wire looms and ends up being a separate wire that goes back to the same key on positive. So this isn't 100% accurate, but you get the idea. There's two reds, they both go to the key on positive. Then we have the boost solenoid and the vacuum diagram for that. So I decided to put it on the same page just for simplicity. So I've got the boost reference coming off the turbo, and that goes to a T, which goes to the boost solenoid. So boost reference off the turbo goes to a T. This one is really a little short one. And then the other end goes to the bottom of the wastegate. And then off the, so this end goes to the bottom of the wastegate. Then the other side of the boost solenoid goes to the top of the wastegate. So it can fully control the operations of the wastegate. We'll get into that more when we start programming the AEM and getting it set up. So that's kind of it. This is my generic wiring starter kit. I just print off the blank one and then just start adding wires. And now I've got a whole bunch of them. Go through it here. So it has an A, or it has an off setting. It has an A setting. And then it has a B setting. And none of these are set yet. I'm still trying to figure out all the buttons here. And then it has a scramble setting, which is what this orange wire was that I showed earlier. So we ground the orange wire with a button, and it goes into scramble setting. So, and then it has a recall on the most recent. Those are the single push buttons, single push holes. Alright, so I determined, had the engine running, put my hand past this, felt air coming out of this bolt hole. So it's open to the tank. I didn't have a clue. So now I have it bolted up, and I've got this bolted up. Well, the discard pile got better, but at least it's in there. So I've got some more bolts I need to put in. Got a couple holding it. It's really not going to go anywhere. But I'll do that just to keep it from catching air or something. And we've got these up here I got to finish off too. But I think it's close to 100 degrees out there right now. So I'm going to clean up my mess and go inside with the air conditioner.
So one of the issues I had was a leak in the gas tank. But before we start welding, is all the gas out? No. It's full of water, but there's just a tiny little bit of hint of fumes. That's all I got with my nose, and I thought, I better just check it. Well, it's a good thing I did, because that would have shocked the crap out of me if I was working on a welder. It looked cool, so I decided to throw it in there. Don't try this at home. Remember, this tank is almost completely full of water, and has been rinsed out a couple of times. So it was just a tiniest little bit of fumes that did that. Anyways, here we're doing the welding of the hole, and yeah, I'll repeat it again. Don't be putting fire to a gas tank. You're gonna die.
It's got baffles in it. That could be an issue. Hopefully it won't. So that's going to go underneath the turbo with just a direct line straight down. Yeah, that's way too low. I was going to get forward of the muffler. And that's going to hang down too low. It still might tell me what I need to know. Yeah, I'll have to do something different.
Boost controller's working, but it's not agreeing with HP tuners. It thinks it was 12.8, which really is possible, because when you look at HP tuners, 127% duty cycle and very, very lean, it's very possible. Well, I hope you liked the latest adventure. We've got more to come, and so we got a track day coming up, and we'll get you reported on that. And hey, thanks for watching. We really appreciate you guys joining us, and there's lots more changes coming up. But this thing is a rocket.